Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to go over and do our daily technical analysis update of commodities. I'm going to give you my financial opinions around the dollar, yields, precious metals, commodities, and ETFs that I follow. And if you guys need any help with anything, definitely sign up to finding-value.com. We talk a lot about commodities. We talk a lot about oil, natural gas, energy in general. That's including nuclear, uranium. We talk about Baltic Dry Index, which is real low, and the companies surrounding all that stuff. So we look at all the opportunities in the market, and I do have companies that you can look at for your own research. So let's dive in here. I'm going to start with the dollar. So the DXY, it is heading higher. We had higher interest rates, higher dollar. Those two they seem to be interconnected looking backwards. And I've got a really cool chart that I'll show you in another video clip and how that relationship could break down in the future, where we see the dollar decline and interest rates continue to go higher as a possibility. I'm not saying that is going to be the case, but it's a possibility, and we're seeing that relationship kind of break down a little bit. But right now, definitely stronger DXY. We are bouncing off that long-term, that white line I've got going across, long-term support level that we're bouncing off to the upside. So the dollar looks like it is going to continue to the upside. I see no selling pressure over here. It looks like it's going to continue higher. The 10-year yield, surprisingly, was up today. Are we going to continue higher, or is this thing going to continue lower because we've got that bearish engulfing yesterday? We're going to have to wait and find out and see what next week has in store for yields. Because this is a bearish engulfing, that generally means we go lower with yields. So, but overall, momentum is up. We got that nice bullish engulfing on the break here, and we've been tracking higher. It is for the market to show us that this is going to sell off if it wants to push it lower. The 30-year yield also heading higher today. There is no reversal candlestick on this one, so it is leaving the door open for a potential continuation move higher if it wants to. But this has broken to the upside, and the momentum is on upward for yields to continue higher. And maybe we put in a double top or something, or a Batman pattern. What that means is it would look something on the lines where this comes up, it comes like this, and then we come back up, and then we come back down like that. And that's good old Batman there. So maybe that's what it's forming. I don't want to jump to conclusions yet, but that is a possibility. Bond prices heading lower. It moves inversely to interest rates. So that was lower today. And then the TYX-TNX ratio was slightly lower, meaning that the curve inverted. An inverted curve means that the shorter term interest rate went up at a higher rate than the long term. And precious metals don't like that. They don't like it when this goes lower. At least that's what I've observed. So coming through, the CRB index slightly higher. We had oil higher, natural gas higher, and all that stuff. But we were only slightly higher in the commodity index. The CRB to S&P 500 was higher today, up 0.9%. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ were down because we had higher dollar, higher interest rates. And they usually move inverse to that. Gold got hit pretty good. That still, to me, looks like we've got more downside left. I don't see a reversal candlestick outside of this one here, which could have been. It was looking good, but nope, more selling pressure in the short term. Silver still looks pretty nasty. We'll call it dirt nasty there. Heading down. That looks like it will continue lower for silver. I would be waiting for a bottom. Who knows where this thing's going to bottom at, but we're going to get one heck of a good buying opportunity at some point in the future. Platinum's also heading lower. We had a pretty strong down day today, about 4%, and we closed quite strong, which makes me think we've got more downside left. The sellers are still kicking it, put it that way. XAU to gold ratio, the gold and silver mining companies are still underperforming gold itself, and I still think that we could see downside momentum. I don't see a reversal candlestick or anything trying to reverse this yet. So I remain this way until I see evidence of it changing. GDX also slightly lower, down a little over 1%. Momentum is to the downside on the short term, and same with SILJ. Definitely to the downside with SILJ in the short term. Longer term, just kind of looking at SILJ from a monthly candlestick perspective, it's going to show us a nasty selling pressure candlestick. But we've got long-term support at this area down here, 750 if it gets down there. And I'm trying to see if this is kind of like a selling pressure move, another one, and maybe this is the last one. But you can see this thing kind of broke out of that guy to the downside, and we've been kind of dilly-dallying across and lower. Crude oil up today, 1.55%. It looks like to me that we're trying to put in a bottom. I would be much more confident if we can close kind of above this $82 a barrel area, get above that. Then I would be super bullish. If we don't and we break down below $70, we could be seeing a spill down to 40, 50, 60 bucks is a possibility there. Looking at the inventory levels, looking at how that's all working, and looking at the overall demand from a worldwide perspective, I am inclined to think that we are going to go higher. That's my view on it, but it doesn't mean my view is right. Natural gas heading on higher, about 11% higher. Strong 3 candlesticks these past 3 trading days. We're starting to see a lot of the companies bounce to the upside as well. So I see this as very positive. They're big green candlesticks, very strong closings. So that is very positive for nat gas. XOP, yeah, you know me, also heading higher. This is a bullish engulfing of the day before. We do have a little gappage somewhere in there. But I do think this looks good. We have been squeezing up in this pennant formation. Now we're just going to see, even if we break down, I'm going to call it a false breakdown, and then we're going to roll higher. I say that because we are way underinvested in oil and natural gas. Well, I say more oil. Natural gas as well. And all it's going to take is one cold winter to blow this thing way to the upside. The risk is to the upside, not the downside, in my opinion. We could see some downside movement, yes, but what I mean is the symmetry is still to the upside. We have less downside risk than upside potential. OIH, the energy service companies, higher today, up 2%. We are putting in a bullish engulfing. That does look good to reverse higher. That's what that candlestick is, that big green candlestick engulfing the one before it. The opening and closing price engulfing this guy is a reversal candlestick to move higher. So the energy service companies look quite good. And we are on a longer-term support line going across of a long-term kind of bottom here. We hit it here, and then we've got some top. So we could break out of here and have actually a very big move to the upside. Energy service companies are still incredibly cheap against other assets. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, that is also squeezing up into a corner, just like oil, just like natural gas, and those companies. We've got a bullish engulfing that generally works its way higher. That is a reversal candlestick. Let's see the buyers come in here and show us that they are going to push that on up. For URNM, we are still tracking sideways. We've got big selling pressure. We had a weak kind of movement higher, and then it broke to the downside again. Are we going to try to put a bottom in here? My inclination is yes. I think we're probably going to try to put a bottom in here. We'll probably see some reversal candlesticks somewhere in here, and then hopefully we break to the upside and we live it up. We live it up because this is going to be a gigantic consolidation period breaking and a nice, very big move higher. This would be considered the first leg. This is considered wave 2. And we could pop down into a false breakout. That's very well possible. And then leg 3 comes. Leg 3 is the largest leg in the bull market. Looking at TAN, we're a little bit lower today. It does look like we could potentially break lower, much like the other side. I'm talking about this side here. So we could come down and do that before we move on up. That is a possibility. We've got increasing interest rates and all that stuff, and we are dipping down a little bit. Now, we haven't broken the low here, so everything's still okay until we break that. If we break that, then we're making a new lower low. COPX also selling off some. We were talking about the momentum here. This kind of came up to a corner, did a nice little deal there, and then spit out to the downside. I got to see some reversal candlesticks here. We do have a little wick at the bottom where the buyers came in. We do have support all through this general vicinity here in that area. So we've got support. Now we just got to see which way this thing's going to trade. Are we going to put a bullish candlestick, or are we going to continue to sell off? Don't know that answer. We'll have to wait and see. Lithium also selling off a little bit. It's not a huge down candlestick though. We're right below support, which is still, I would say, at support. So it's not horrible. We just had a down day. REMX is also at long-term support. So that's where we're at. That big blue line going across right at support there. We've got the S&P 500. Again, we were down today about 1%. We had higher yields, higher dollar, but we're still above the trend line, the support trend line there. So we're still above that. It's not unsavable. We're still above support. Then we've got NASDAQ, which is also above support. And depending on how you kind of draw this in here, maybe we could put it up a little bit. Somewhere in this range in here is where I would put it. Some people, sometimes they put it like right at the tip. Could be there as well. But we're right at support going across here. We got some support underneath us, and that's where we're at. Emerging markets down today, kind of popped a little bit lower. Again, we're at support as well. And higher dollar, and stronger yields. Emerging markets do not like that. XHB right on support. And a lot of the times, this is usually where things look good to actually reverse and go higher. So we'll see what comes. I don't have anything in the XHB ETF, the Home Builders ETF, but it doesn't look horrible. We're just at support. MOVE's at support as well, much like the Home Builders of this longer term support area through this general section here. Copper selling off. It's a pretty big sell-off. And I do think that we're probably going to come back to this support level. We've got 2 strong selling pressure days there. And the momentum is on the seller side. It's favoring selling pressure. Surprisingly, lumber, like I said yesterday, this does look like it wants to turn. It turned today, and it does look like it wants to go higher. What we saw here was the candlesticks in this series here. They went from getting bigger to smaller to smaller to smaller, and then eventually it turns and works its way higher. That's what we got today. The candlestick is a turning candlestick right here. So yeah, that looks good. We've got iron ore. I'm going to skip this one. Nickel going to the lines here. We're just going back and forth, perhaps putting in some sort of pattern like that. We've got aluminum slightly lower today. This will, I think, eventually turn and go higher. With China reopening, it's going to increase the demand for aluminum, and aluminum gets pretty tight out in the future of 2023, 2024. Baltic Dry Index shot higher. This was a false breakout like I was thinking, and we're starting to move on up, and a lot of the companies are looking quite good. And then we've got coal futures. That's probably going to try to bottom here, especially if natural gas continues its upward momentum. We could see coal try to turn around here and start to work its way on higher if it wants to and follows natural gas. Ethereum and Bitcoin lower today. And again, we had higher dollar, higher yields. And that's going to be a headwind, I think, for Ethereum and also for Bitcoin, which we see in the prices being lower. So that's what we had for today. I'm still very bullish on energy in general. That's kind of where I think a lot of opportunity is at right now. It's all energy related stuff. I also think precious metals is a really good spot to be kind of hiding out in. I know we're going lower in the short term here, and I'm going to definitely wait for that to all bottom out. And then I'm going to continue to purchase physical precious metals. I buy when things are cheap, and I do think things are getting cheap. I just don't know if we're at a bottom yet. A lot of momentum coming back down. I'm going to be patient and wait for it to come back around. So that's what I'm seeing in the markets right now. And looking out into the future, we still have those commodity shortages. We still have energy tightness. That's not going to go away until you invest in it. And it's not going to go away at prices where they're at. So that's the conundrum we're in. It's as simple as that. And I'm going to stay and remain long in commodities and in energy. And if we get short-term weakness, I'm going to continue to purchase whatever I like at that time and continue to stack either ounces or stack shares in the account. If you guys need help with anything, definitely check out the website. We've got a 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on Sunday, platinum question and answer session. You can ask whatever questions you want during that session. And if you guys like these updates, give me a thumb up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.